What is going on, guys? Sageartz here. So today's video will mark the start to a How Strong series focusing on Chainsaw Man characters on the channel, which I'll try to drop on a weekly basis alongside the other Chainsaw Man videos I'm currently working on. But with that being said, who better to kick this series off with than Makima, since I think it's fair to say she's definitely the character that most people end up being curious about when first getting into Chainsaw Man. And I have to make it abundantly clear that all the videos in this series will not be anime friendly, as I'll be going over all the information currently available on each individual that I decide to make a video on, that is in the manga, since that will allow me to make the videos as accurate as possible in regards to representing how strong a character is. So if you don't want Makima's character and Chainsaw Man in general spoiled for you, then you might want to click off the video. But to kick things off, Makima is a character who's introduced to us within the first chapter of Chainsaw Man, and her whole background, philosophy, ideals, just overall character is something that becomes more and more apparent as the series goes on, until being fully revealed to us within the final arc of Chainsaw Man Part 1. Her characteristics and subtle interactions with other individuals within the Chainsaw Man world, alongside her reputation, kind of unconsciously prepares one for her big reveal, but once it happens, it's something that just pieces everything you've been holding onto in your head together, and you just think, oh. And obviously I'm talking about her being the control devil, which embodies the fear of control. Now, with having this information available to us outside of the abilities she's obviously displayed within the series, which I'll get into later on, it makes you realize that Makima definitely has the potential to be the strongest in the series straight up, in a hypothetical sense, depending on what her plan is to reach that goal. Obviously, in the canon story, her goal outside of wanting to be with Chainsaw Man, due to the love and admiration she had for Pochita, was to use his power to erase devils, in turn erasing the concepts associated with said devil to overall make the world a better place, which is currently the most broken ability within the series. I think we can all agree, being able to wipe things out of existence to the point the masses will forget it was even a thing. And should she have been successful, I don't even think this would be a debate on how strong she is. She would definitely be taking the #1 spot. But even without that being in her arsenal, Makima is already such a threat that there are only a few you can even mention currently that may or do surpass her in terms of strength, being the Darkness Devil, who is one of the devils based on primal fears, which is still a topic that needs expansion on in the series, and obviously Chainsaw Man, also known as the Hero of Hell, who has the power to erase any devil he eats. There's obviously been debates about this series as to who would be stronger between the two, a lot of people opting for the Darkness Devil due to the small display we got from it, and obviously it being a primal fear devil, never experiencing death once within the cycle, and Chainsaw Man, who can erase devils and seemingly never goes down when fighting, constantly revving his chainsaw and getting back up, which has been stated on 2 occasions now within the series as seen by Makima and Yoru. But those are really the only obstacles currently that you could say are in Makima's way, until more things like the Primal Devil, Chainsaw Man, Horsemen and the Weapon Humans, or maybe an entire new entity are expanded on. Makima's whole setup before she was bested by Denji was insanely strong, to the point where she was leagues ahead of even the Gun Devil, who was hyped up to be one of the big bads of Chainsaw Man, and respectfully so given what we've seen the Gun Devil do. And the only way Denji can even think of defeating Makima was by eating her, which he wasn't even sure would work, and the only reason this was successful was due to the nature of him eating her being out of love and not an attack, which I'm just going to say is a very convenient way to bypass Makima's contracts and literally only something Denji can do, because there's no way anyone else could be put through what Denji was by Makima, having his life literally manufactured and torn down by her and still retaining feelings of love for her. But obviously, as I said, Denji is a special case, we all know his story. But currently, that's literally the only way Makima could have been killed in this series with the power she had. And again, it's so specific that it really goes to show how formidable she truly is. And touching back on the statement I made earlier where I said Makima has the potential to be the strongest in this series straight up, I think that her ability to control is honestly one of the perfect abilities to have in the world of Chainsaw Man. It's like having ice cream with cake or something, it's just meant to be. And my reasoning for this, outside of the fact that controlling people is already absurdly overpowered, is because Chainsaw Man's world has the basis of a devil's power level, directly correlating to the fear massed towards either the devil itself, so the individual, and the concept that's within the devil's name. So taking Chainsaw Man as an example, by the end of the series and leading up to part 2, Makima had weakened him significantly as he's being praised worldwide for his actions. He's a source of propaganda and a hero for the people, the masses love him, but in turn this makes him significantly weaker. But Chainsaw Man is still arguably at this point of the series the strongest devil we've seen, regardless of the debuffs due to Makima's actions. And this is mainly from the fear Chainsaw Man has amassed in Hell, due to his ability to erase devils permanently and how many he's killed being the Hero of Hell. The devils absolutely hate him, and this is what made Denji the subject of a manhunt the whole series, where everyone from humans and devils alike were after his chainsaw heart. But with all the power a devil has due to the fear amassed or just their pure strength, Makima can take advantage of that for herself if she can manage to control them. If you imagine it like a game and everyone's trying to level up, while the majority can only work on themselves and improve, Makima can take others' progress and strength for herself, and in turn her ability to control can even further increase the fear associated with those she controls, because she can make them act in ways that will cause this, which will further increase her own strength as a result. And there's only a few limitations to Makima's control ability that we actually have to take note of. First things first, she cannot control someone that she feels she is inferior to, but given how Makima is, there's very few that fit that category. Another thing is that it is possible for people to break free of her control, like we saw with the Angel Devil, if they remember the instance of them being controlled themselves. But to be honest, if they were controlled by her in the first place, it doesn't really matter if they do, since she can just instantly control them again. And in relation to the strength of her control abilities, there's actually a lot. The biggest one being that she can force those she controls into making contracts with her. So before I forget, I'll just make this distinction clear. Makima can control anyone, be it humans, devils, fiends, hybrids, animals, you name it, through her ability. But when it comes to contracts, it is stated in the manga that devils and fiends can't make contracts. So if Makima can't control a fiend because she doesn't feel that they're inferior to her, there's actually no possible way of her forcing or manipulating them into a position of being controlled 100%, as we saw with power. Hence why she ended up killing her, because she's an inconvenience. She could control her with fear and other tactics, but again, as I said, it's not 100% control. Power could just change her stance on things and rebel if her mindset was ever changed, and Makima is definitely a thorough person, so she wouldn't settle for this. She needs absolute domination. But speaking outside of this specific situation, she can form contracts with humans, devils, etc., just not fiends. And by doing this, she could easily control them through the contract itself, telling her subject to give her all of them, which would in turn allow her to control them as she sees fit, and channel their abilities for herself. Another strength to her control ability is that she can control human corpses, and in turn control the contracted devils of said corpse by speaking through them, as we saw when she summoned the Hell Devil. And this is pure speculation since it's kind of hinted at in two ways, but this will also apply to her using the abilities of dead devils, since we saw her use the zombie devil's ability against power, even though it died in the very first chapter of Chainsaw Man. And I say this is speculation because it's not really clear as to whether she acquired the zombie devil's ability prior to when we first see her in the series. She said she came to kill the zombie devil, but knowing Makima, that whole encounter could have been manufactured as well. But Makima honestly is only as strong as what she has access to. She has to build up her powers over time, which allows for infinite potential, but at the start of her lifespan in the cycle, she wouldn't be anywhere near as strong as we saw at the end of the series, unless she just has an insane ego of rip, but even then she still wouldn't be as strong. Which is why I can't wait to see what they do with Nayuta in part 2. But by the end of part 1, Makima is definitely top 3 in the series, with the battles against Darkness and Pochita not having definitive outcomes, so it could really go either way. And I say this because the Darkness Devil, obviously we don't know enough about it, and Darkness and Makima deal significant damage to each other, so a full blown fight is hard to say who would win, especially taking into account how vast Makima's inventory is, especially with her overpowered contract with the Prime Minister. And Pochita, obviously he could eat her and erase her, but hypothetically speaking, would that be able to bypass Makima's contract with the Prime Minister of Japan that makes any attack against her turn into illnesses and accidents amongst Japanese citizens? It's hard to say. But I mean, if Pochita had the same intentions as Denji, where doing this wouldn't be an attack, I guess it could work. However, taking the attention away from this, let's go strictly into what Makima displayed during Chainsaw Man and her overall abilities, since I've already mentioned in detail her ability to control and her ability to create contracts. So first things first, Makima is untouchable as she literally cannot be killed by attacks, since her contract with the Prime Minister automatically turns those threats into illnesses and accidents amongst the Japanese citizens, which is why despite all the times she was killed by the Gun Devil and Chainsaw Man, and even on the train earlier in the series, she would just return back to normal as if nothing had happened, which is insanely broken. Next is her ability to instantly kill others by having someone utter the individual she wants to kill's name. By sacrificing the person who said the name, her target will also die. So it's a life for life type of thing, and the only restriction to this ability is the fact that she needs high ground and possibly a shrine for reasons unknown. But the result of this ability is having her enemy crushed to death, and range doesn't seem to be a factor either, as Makima launched this attack from Kyoto while her targets were in Tokyo. And from my Google search, the distance between the two is around 450 kilometers, which is absolutely insane. Then we have Makima's ability to inflict damage on her enemy by pointing out her index finger like a gun. And this caused major damage to the Darkness Devil and sent Chainsaw Man all the way up to space when using succession, so his power really speaks for itself. And outside of basic hand-to-hand combat, swordsmanship, and her using different applications of her control ability and mixing the abilities she has, we know she can teleport to the location of other life forms, as seen with the rats when she disposed of Reze and when she appeared in hell through Quanxi the Spider Devil. And this is just everything we've seen that can be described somewhat accurately. There's some other feats she pulled off in the manga that we can only assume is a result of either her control abilities or an unknown contract that she has. But Makima is definitely a force to be reckoned with and is insanely powerful. So in conclusion, I'd say Makima is definitely top 3 in this series right now, and it's hard to say where in the top 3 because of how her powers work and intricacies surrounding whether Pochita would be able to even erase her with his ability. If not, he wouldn't be able to kill her from what I've gathered, so even if he is stronger, he can't kill her, so eventually Makima would be able to overpower him over time if she took the necessary steps to do so. And this is even a reach because she technically did overpower him before power came out and had to save Denji. She played the game and put him in positions to take an attack that would have got him put down for good if power didn't get him to safety. And obviously again in relation to the darkness level, we just don't know enough. But Makima is definitely top 3 and she has the potential to be the strongest in Chainsaw Man. But with that being said, we come to the end of the video. So if you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to smash that like button for me and subscribe to the channel for more Chainsaw Man content. This is the first video to kick off the series, so only expect improvements from here on out. And be sure to let me know your thoughts on how strong Makima is, and maybe, I don't know, if you'd like to see me implement a system that can help me gauge how strong each character is more effectively. Also, let me know if I missed out on any important details. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.